How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading whether price is going up or down. Lack of crypto compliance is SEC's fault, says Republican lawmakers. Of course, the Republican lawmakers say now against SEC Chair Gary Gensler on Tuesday, roasting the officials' approach to regulating the digital asset industry. The largest ahead of Gary Gensler's testimony before the House Financial Service Committee, which is centered on the oversight of the SEC, took place today. Without clear rules of the road, you push for firms to come in and register is a willful misrepresentation of the SEC's non-existent registration process, the letter states. The only entity to blame for the lack of registrants is the SEC itself. The letter accuses Gensler and his agency of forcing the digital asset ecosystem into a regulatory framework that's neither compatible nor applicable as well. Warren Davidson said he plans on introducing legislation that'll have Gary Gensler fired. We'll get to that shortly. Gary Gensler has a woeful act to just go out and send Wells notice rather than actually provide any clarity, so we can have this innovation here in the United States, he said, referring to the SEC's step up in scrutiny towards digital asset firms so far this year. McHenry referenced legislation that would clarify how cryptocurrencies could be considered commodities versus securities. He also mentioned the need for regulation regarding stablecoins, which the committee is going to be meeting on tomorrow, and they're reviewing a 72-page draft. So hopefully that goes well. So Warren Davis says, yep, to correct a long series of abuses, I am introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the SEC and replaces the role with executive director that reports to a board. And the former chairs of the SEC are ineligible, so Gary Gensler cannot be eligible. However, that would mean Hester Pierce could be, so some people are not going to be happy about that if she were to get this position. Gensler is driving crypto to Communist China, says Republican congressman. This one's a pretty short one too, because it's just tailing off the other two. But lawmakers furiously attacked Gensler for not being clear with rulemaking. Tom Emmer was particularly aggressive and claimed that US tech companies are suffering as a result. You've been incompetent cop on the beat, he said, before claiming that Gensler was pushing American firms into the hands of the CCP. Well, not only are they pushing them into the hands of the CCP, but they're pushing them into UK. UK moving fast on crypto regulations, says Coinbase CEO. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong appears bullish as ever on crypto regulations in the UK, and not anywhere else it seems, as the US kinda sucks. The UK is moving fast on sensible crypto regulation to both drive economic growth and consumer protection, he said in a tweet. And he's excited to keep investing in the UK, so their deals that they have been pretty positive if he wants to stay in the UK as opposed to the US. Coinbase has also provided 9 recommendations that could cement the UK as a leader in the sector. So not only do you see a shift on one of the biggest exchanges moving to another country, but trying to help that country become a leader since this country didn't want to listen to him. These recommendations included ensuring that banks remove blanket bans on purchasing crypto, establishing a good regulatory framework, and set out to plan to bring decentralized ID into fruition. So like a one-click shop where you can get into all these wallets and you don't have to make a different account for every wallet where you spend 20 minutes setting each wallet up. So now into the charts, we got a little bit of a pump for our Bitcoin dominance right around where we said we could. So pretty much right around where we expected. RSI is pointing up, stochastics got a bullish cross, money flow's kind of flat. Our VWAP is trying to curl up, so medium term's trying to come up. Momentum's not anywhere to be found, it's kind of like down here. Stochastic could recover, our money flow's flattening out instead of coming down. So we're kind of looking indecisive as at best here on the daily. For total, we did manage to inch up a little bit, so money did manage to go into our altcoins as well since Bitcoin pumped, but we're still getting some red dots here, so we could see that drop that we didn't see today sometime soon if we don't get some more momentum from here. Our momentum is curling over, RSI is trying to head up, stochastic's falling but trying to bend upwards, not very strongly yet, but there is that possibility with the way it kind of straightened out here. And our money flow is very weak. So we're not the strongest move up, even though we moved up. Bitcoin money flow is still inching out, kind of flattening out here. So that is somewhat bullish. That could mean we could get push up if we can get more green candles here. Our RSI is trying to point up, stochastic's trying to curl, but overall is heading down still. Our VWAP is kind of flattening out, slightly tapering upwards. So not too strongly bullish or bearish right now, kind of indecisive. We are setting up a bullish engulfing candle, which could be a tweezer top or a tweezer bottom. We'll kind of have to see. It might be a tweezer top where that could signal that we could fall, but usually it'll be green then red, not red then green, because this is a bullish engulfing candle. But last time we got that, we didn't really go anywhere. Here we kind of fell down, so it doesn't always mean you're going to pump up. Sometimes you get like 1 or 2 candles up, slight move up afterwards, and then you'll just roll over and reclaim everything. So that could end up happening. Over on the 4 hour, you can kind of see we almost bounced off that point of control, this Fibonacci area, which is also our high value area. So we had a lot of support right in here. You can see how big that volume profile node is. So that's one way to see where support is. You kind of see a smaller one here, bigger one in here, bigger one here, and one here. These flatter spots are kind of not as strong, and they're more of like the interim. Stochastic's starting to round off, even though we're getting this big move up. Money flow's trying to head up. VWAP's kind of coming down. Our momentum looks like it's somewhat starting to round still, so it didn't get the strongest move up. We'll need it to continue pushing forward. But if the stochastic starts to fall and our RSI starts to lose strength, we may start to kind of waver off from here. We did hit our value area high again today and rejected from it. We are trying to hold above our point of control. If we can hold above it, that may be good for a possible try to break above this zone again. But if we reject from it, since we did retest our point of control after breaking through, we could come back down. So keep that in mind. So over on the 2 hour, momentum somewhat heading up. RSI is making lower highs and heading down. Stochastic has a bullish cross, so that could save our RSI if it continues. Money flow is heading down rather aggressively right now, and our VWAP is overall heading out and very weak. So our medium term VWAP is kind of weak. Money flow, the money in our asset, is heading out. So it could get a bearish test, which then if it becomes red, is in the bearish control. RSI, the relative strength index, is heading down. And the stochastic that gives the relative strength index strength is trying to lean bullish, but we may just roll over here if we're not careful. You can see we're kind of making a double top here. So if we start to fall away from here and we break this support level, we could drop down to this 29.6 level. If we do not get support in that range, then our next micro range would be the 29.4. And if we lose both those ranges, then we could come down to this 28.4 or possibly the top of our golden pocket. Over on the 1 hour, our momentum overall is setting up a bearish divergence, very slight, as we have a slight move up and a move down on our divergence. So kind of going like this. RSI is heading down, stochastic's making a bearish cross and coming down, so not too good for the 2 hour cross. Red down, the momentum could confirm in about half an hour or so. By the time the video is released, it will be confirmed, so you could check it. And our stochastic's heading down, VWAP's heading down, about to break bearish. Money flow's kind of wavering around, not very strong. We're at about 10 here at best. So we're not looking too strong, even though we got a little bit of a breakup. This breakup was to be expected, but didn't expect it to go this strong. And we'll aim more for the value area low, but we were able to explosively move through that. Let's see how our futures look, if we have any new gaps. Doesn't look like there's any new gaps, so we're not going to really cover anything. If you want to see what's going on with the futures, check my short that I have. That's still a good reference. if we can click the right button here, graph is kind of rejecting away from trying to break out, so that is slightly concerning, but we could just come bounce off one of these supports and come back up. Stochastic's kind of bending, momentum's starting to bend, RSI is bending, VWAP is getting close to bearish, and our money flow is just flopping around and heading down right now. So we're not looking too strong right now on the daily. Over on the 4 hour, our momentum's getting lower highs while price gets slightly higher highs. So that's a divergence, kind of like we explained on Bitcoin. Stochastic's heading down, money flow's trying to come up, so that's slightly positive for us. We do have this red dot, bearish divergences, all sorts of things overlapping, kind of hard to read. Our VWAP's starting to fall away. So overall, momentum's coming out, stochastic's weak, red dot, VWAP's coming out. Only thing we have good going for us here is the money flow being bullish. Over on the 2 hour, money flow is starting to make lower highs and head down. VWAP's kind of flattening out. Stochastic's trying to make a bullish cross. Our momentum might try and curl up. And our RSI is pretty flat. We did come back into this pattern here, you can see, very slightly. So if we aren't able to break up and make some sort of a bullish pattern, then we could fall from here, as we did have a mini rising channel. So if we start to fall away, we could get a breakdown of that channel. Over on the 1 hour, our momentum's kind of heading downwards. Stochastic's trying to recover. Money flow overall is trying to head up after taking a little bit of a dip, but we are only about a 12, so not too strong here. RSI is trying to head up, so if that stochastic can get some strength, that momentum can turn around, and possibly some more strength in that money flow, then we may be able to break that resistance and invalidate a bearish pattern. So over on Anchor, we are touching our value area high, which usually if you do that, you can retrace away, but this is a micro value area high. So if more money starts to come into it, we could go to the macro value area high. We're getting a little bit of a green dot here on our momentum that could push us forward. Our money flow's still kind of bearish, VWAP's kind of bearish, stochastic has a bearish cross. So our RSI and our momentum look pretty decent, but we're pretty close to that overbought for the momentum and the RSI. Money flow's in the bearish zone, so it's looking a little dicey to me. Here on the 4 hour, you can see we broke our value area high, and we are trying to retest above it. So that could be bullish for us. RSI is trying to head up, momentum's coming up. Our VWAP's kind of trying to flatten out or round up, so we'll have to see if it can manage. Our money flow is overall heading up, but currently trying to take a little bit of a breather. So we'll need that stochastic to start to curl up and that money flow to start to curl, and that momentum to kind of straighten out for us to make a decent push from here. Over on the 2 hour, momentum's starting to get lower highs. We are trying to get a green dot though, stochastic's trying to make a bullish cross. Our RSI is getting lower highs but trying to head up. Our VWAP did break slightly bullish, and our money flow overall is heading up. So we are looking pretty decent. Money flows at about 16, a little higher than some of the other coins, but looking a little iffy to me. Stochastic is trying to head up. RSI is kind of trying to head up, but not very strongly. Our momentum's trying to curl up, but could try and curl away soon, as that green dot really didn't give us much strength. Our VWAP's trying to head up, and our money flow is somewhat heading up. So if that money flow can keep going and our VWAP and momentum can gain some momentum here, that would be good for us. But if we start to see some curls, then it may be time for us to retest the support again. So over on XRP, we did get a pretty good breakout. Probably because everyone's not all-footed about Ripple selling because they just wanted to increase decentralization by not holding quite as many coins. But our momentum's overall setting up lower highs. We have a green dot that could help propel us forward. RSI is pretty flatlined but is heading up. Stochastic's trying to head up, VWAP's trying to head up, and our money flow is just hanging in there. So we could get a move up, but we are pretty much getting right to our breakout of this pattern again. Usually you don't get multiple tests of the pattern, but here we are. Our stochastic's starting to round off, even though our RSI is heading up in like a straight line. So that RSI is about to probably get smacked down. Momentum's looking like it could start to round here. VWAP's looking a little iffy. It's making slightly lower highs. Our money flow is coming in pretty strongly though, so that is a good sign. But the other indicators are looking like they could cool off here. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic's trying to head up, RSI is trying to head up, and our momentum's trying to head up. Money flow is kind of stagnated around the 20 zone, so not too bad. Our VWAP is trying to head up, so if this can kind of carry over, that could help give the 4 hour and daily some more strength. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic's starting to round off. Momentum could start to round off with a slightly lower high here. If you count the blue to the blue, not this light blue to the light blue. Our money flow is trying to head up. VWAP's trying to head up pretty strongly. Our RSI is trying to head up, but the RSI could get a bit of a correction here. So if we don't overcorrect and we just hit our support, bounce off, and continue forward, we could be set up for a pretty decent move here as long as that money flow stays bullish. Over on Algo, we have a doji candle, a spinning top, slightly long upper shadow candle because the upper shadow is longer than the lower shadow and it's more than double the body. But that could be a bearish candle, as that represents that buyers tried to push us up, but sellers managed to suppress us, and they are trying to suppress us below this point of control, which means we could fall to the value area low. Our stochastic, is heading down. Momentum's heading down as well. From that red dot we had, RSI is kind of flatlining, VWAP's heading out, and our money flow is heading out still. So if we don't get above this point of control, then we could see some more bearish downside. If we manage to get above the point of control, then it is possible we could move up and test the value area high. Over on the 4 hour, don't know why I went to the 2 hour right away. RSI is trying to head up, stochastic's starting to fall though, so our RSI could start to lose some strength. Our money flow is in the bullish zone, so the 4 hour is doing pretty good. Not sure why the daily money flow keeps coming out, even though the 4 hour is doing pretty good. The momentum's starting to wane though, so we could see a decent decline if this momentum doesn't pick up here, and we do have a red dot that could drag us lower. Our VWAP is pretty weak in the bearish zone, trying to head up, but it's not heading up with very much strength either. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic's trying to head up, RSI is kind of flattening out, and our money flow is somewhat heading down. VWAP's trying to head up, and our momentum's trying to head up with a green dot that could confirm. So we could try to push up from here, kind of make a small double bottom, and head upwards to our 25-cent resistance. But we'll have to kind of see what happens over the next few hours. We really don't have a pattern that I could draw to kind of project where we could go. Our stochastic's heading up, RSI's heading up, our VWAP's kind of rounding off. Money flow's trying to become bullish, but it's not really as strong. And our momentum is trying to head up as well. So if we can keep moving forward, that'll be good. But if we start to lose momentum and money flow here on the 1 hour, then that 1 hour and daily are probably going to suppress those good indications we see on our 2 hour and 4 hour. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.